All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I just cheersed my own glass. But I didn't know whether our long arms. Oh, I can't even speak.
This is a killer track, man.
I just love that art, man.
Yeah. Oh, the artwork.
No, the ARP.
Oh, the ARP.
The
Okay.
arpeggio.
Yeah.
Or arpeggiator, whatever. Yeah, because like most arpeggios, like when you're doing a chord or whatever, it'll just go through all the notes. But that one's just literally just an octave, like playing the low and the high of just two notes, and just like doing that really fast. It just sounds fucking sick.
I know. Yeah, that atonal stuff is awesome. Yeah.
Keeping it simple. I like it.
It's a very dope.
Hey, we thought we'd get Ben back because Ben, you're always here.
And I love doing bend backs.
Ben backs.
Yeah, right.
The double Bs, we call it.
I can barely even bend my knees.
But you always like come in at our most pinnacle moments, like when we're changing something.
I thought you were about to say you always come in like right,
at the worst time. You fucking asshole.
Right before things just start going really bad. It's like all my fault.
Whenever Ben's around, just bad shit just happens. No, it's
good. I like the new setup. It is good, man. I have
you.
been on here a few times. Hey, it's been a long time now.
Yeah,
And it went bad way before you came on. So
Are you sure?
nothing
Do
to
you
worry
promise?
about. No.
All right, because I got a lot on my plate. You know, I can't have another thing that I'm responsible for ruining. What's that?
it's a
little
touch-
lights.
it's a
Little
touch-
lights.
That's
yeah.
fucking good.
We have so much stuff
This
to
is so
turn on that
techie.
we always like miss. Well, I'm always like fearful that we'll miss something, but no, we got it all. We got it all good. Yeah, nice.
All the lighting. It's gonna get warm. It's gonna get hot.
It's gonna get very
Why
hot.
not?
I can already
Yeah,
feel
off
it.
again. All right, fuck that light. Hey, welcome back to the Mission Control podcast. Our final one for 2020, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, final. This is our wrap up episode. Wow, it's been a whole year. It's been a whole year. Now you told me we've
If
done.
you can call it that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. But we've done what 21 episodes this year. You gave me the stats.
Yeah, about 21 episodes throughout the year, including about 7 or 8 sessions we did.
Yeah, cool. Wow. Okay.
Highlighting a lot of stuff that's happening in the world.
What's your most common topic that you get to? It might just be coronavirus, to be honest.
No,
What's the common one that keeps popping up? You know, what's the meaty one?
For me, I think it would be a whole lot of the privacy and censorship stuff.
Okay, in with regards to social media platforms.
Yeah, well,
in big tech, and
in
stuff?
everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
I think technology always comes up in our discussions.
Mhm.
I think even with you, like naturally, it'll come up because
Tech's the coolest shit ever.
We love this shit, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and for me, it's like love, hate. Like it enables a lot, but there's also things that we should, I guess, be more educated on. I think in the way of privacy, but I think that will happen slowly, naturally, as people realize the importance of it. But definitely, it comes up a lot. We've highlighted that pretty much the last, I would say, couple of years. We've always brought up, this idea of tech becoming really amazing and advanced, but so does the amount of data they collect and just other things, Yeah.
I mean, look, tech is probably the most interesting because it's like, that's the benchmark for our evolution. Like if you zoom in, to a very small period of time, like physical evolution and stuff, like as an animal species or whatever, goes for fucking ages. So that you got to look at the whole time, like span to see like how we've developed into the bipedal things that we are now. But like in terms of like looking at progress in a smaller period of time, tech's the coolest thing. That's how we know that we're kind of evolving at all, we're not physically changing that much, so you can't really go, oh yeah, and we're not getting super faster or stronger really. So like tech is the coolest like little benchmark to see where we're at, and it's just happening so quick, so it's like
well, that's the thing, the exponential rate at which tech is advancing has been over the last couple of years been fucking insane.
So like when you think of that, right, so you're talking about privacy and shit, and that fucking sucks for our generation because we knew a time where privacy was a thing. I reckon by the time it literally has like ultimate, domination, like where there is no privacy and all of our data is just being used by this digital entity or whatever, I mean, when you think about it in the long run, if I could I mean, I don't want to get fucked up by like some digital entity, like as a person, personally. But if I were to like progress science and shit, data is the coolest shit ever, because then you can figure out actually what we are and like go into like the little details. So it's like, yeah, if I were to separate my own fears and shit, I would probably, let some robot know everything and about us,
Yeah.
And it's just our generation that still cares whether someone watches us wank. But I never thought in a billion years that my peers or women that I thought I was like so in love with, at a younger time, they're like full on, like you can buy their pussy or whatever for $2.
Yeah, you can make money off it now.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's where we're going now. And like, I think the future generations actually will not care who knows what.
Yeah.
It's not even going to be an issue.
If you think about it this way, so we've got our mobile phones, which do track us and take all of our data, and we can turn them off. We can just turn the power off, and then that kind of gets cut. Then we did a session on 5G and about how 5G allows this instantaneous transfer of information and data, which means even if you didn't have a mobile phone, you're still being caught under this system, whether it be running through cameras, networks throughout cities and that. But then you also look at what, what's his name? Starman, Elon Musk is doing with Neuralink.
Starman. I was thinking Bowie.
I'm thinking of Starman, but Elon Musk with Neuralink.
Neuralink is
where they
sick.
want to. Where does that privacy level go when your brain is literally connected to the computer?
But see, look, that's it's a great example of like, what are you willing to risk in terms of your privacy? Like, if okay, I'm going to ask you a question. If you got $1 billion, well, let's just use money as some example of some kind of superpower that we can grasp. Okay, if I gave you $1 billion, but the catch is, everyone in the world is able to see when you wank and what you wank over for the rest of your life.
For $1 billion? Fuck yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. And I'm using that like when you're wanking shit because that's the number one reason really why people put fucking blue tack over there. That's why. You don't want people to watch you wank.
I will
Okay,
I will admit though that when I've got my phone, I do kind of hold my phone over the camera while I'm going at it.
Yeah.
Just of this kind of nervousness.
Well, see, that's the thing. But like, really speaking, what are they going to do? And who's going to watch me?
Yeah.
I don't like even watching. I wank with my eyes closed, or I definitely look away.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's the payoff, right? So if you're getting the reason why I said money being that superpower thing, Neuralink is going to be a form of a superpower, in the closest way that we know, as little ants that we are, all right? If the trade-off is some people know my thoughts, I honestly would prefer if I could stick up for myself with my real thoughts without having to verbalize them, because I'm too much of a little bitch to say what I really think. And if everyone in the world had their real thoughts thrown out there without a filter, fuck it, at least it's truth.
Yeah. Well, but there's a lot of that intellectual property, in which your thoughts and your ideas that you have personally have so much value to you as a person. Whereas if everyone at any time can just say, "Oh, I know what Ben's thinking about, I know what Daryl's thinking about," you've kind of lost that sort of value.
The counter argument would be that is necessary for us to progress. And I have heard people theorize about this exactly, Ben, like people saying that maybe the only real way to erase things like corruption, greed, whatever, is to all accept some kind of overarching system where everyone has to have 100% transparency, including the billionaires, including the common person.
This is why I think
maybe
ultimate PC is a bad idea, because it's actually counterproductive. Like, transparency is a really, big thing.
Yeah. So, like, in a way, like, I think it's forcing us to... technology is definitely forcing us to consider a lot of these things.
I think
like
a lot...
What's valuable to us, where the line gets drawn is different for a lot of people. Yeah.
What do you think? Like, okay, so there's a couple of things that I could take from that, but what was the last point you said just then?
I was talking about like transparency.
Yeah, the transparency, right? So,
like how
and the other one was
on
the value, right? So the transparency and the value. So transparency, right? When you're a little kid, like it's kind of like, a real shitty example is like you took a cookie or something, and it's like, you're not allowed to have a cookie or whatever, or a chocolate chip cookie, So you lie. Or like you go, no, I didn't take it, blah, blah, blah. But you get this like form of guilt. And we all build up some form of weird guilt. We have our own little secret world in our own head, you know, that God forbid anyone found out, it would suck. But we carry this guilt. But the interesting thing about that is everyone has it as well, but they're just hiding it from each other. It's like when you're little, you know, don't touch the hot fire. But at some point, like we all touch a hot fire in our own perception of what that is, but you might not know that everyone else is doing it and feeling shame or guilt or, you know, lashing out against each other, bit like which has progressed from this guilt or this shame or whatever. So this forced transparency, like living in a world like, man, we've already lived some great years. Okay, our kind of generation sucks a little bit, to be honest, man. We're going from, you know, playing in the garden or whatever to complete and total addiction. And confusion. You know, life feels like a fucking dream, and it's and I don't actually think it's because of all the acid I used to take, but like it literally, I truly feel that way for like everybody.
Yeah. And
you know, I think it's time for like something like where the whole world is truthful. You know, like maybe that can get rid of some corruption and super capitalism.
But there's also a thing about this. Let's take something as dumb as Facebook, for example, where we share our thoughts. You know, but isn't that the blank box on Facebook when you have to type something that says what's on your mind and you share your thought? So therefore, you're actively deciding, I'm going to share what I'm thinking. At what point does this, you know, let's take with Neuralink, where there's an actual connection to your brain where your thoughts are always there. Everyone has negative thoughts. Everyone every now and then will think, oh, I wouldn't mind, you know, doing something bad or doing something wrong. Yeah. Not that they're going to act on it.
Yeah. Well, for me, like wanking with my eyes open is a huge thrill, but sometimes but yeah.
It's you know, it's going to sound very Orwellian, but how far off are we of some kind of thought police where people can actually work out or can read your thoughts that you're not acting upon, but you're thinking about, and what impact would that eventually have?
It's so interesting. That neatly segues us into that second thing I was going to say about the value, okay, where you were talking about your own intellectual property. Now, why do you care about, let's say, as a creative, I'm a creative type person. I don't like to admit it, but that's even a fucking wanky indie thing to say. It's like, no, I'm not. You know, I'm a fucking victim of that exact headspace, right? So I'm a typical walking cliche, okay? Why do you care that everyone knows that you come up with this brilliant idea? Why do you care?
Well, so I can capitalize on it.
Okay, that's exactly right. So your value on your creative genius or whatever it is, there's a couple of things. Obviously, you want praise and stuff from that kind of thing, but praise then equals the opportunity to get money. And then, like as a male, maybe like praise then, or the money then equals more opportunity, and then it's like a capitalistic thing, and then more bitches or whatever you're gonna fucking like equate that to. Like the low level dopamine hits says I'm being rewarded, but like it's this long path. So if the world is more transparent and shit, you will not have to curate what's on your mind. It's not. That's the thought police itself is you at the moment, based on what you think other people will like you thinking about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not going to post shit that you think that people won't think is cool.
Yeah.
In your own, we all have a little subculture or an image about ourselves. It's like no one goes out and wears something that they think looks shit.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, some people in their little subculture, that's a cool thing to do. That's the context. Like you wear something shit, so therefore it's cool. But it's like posting stuff. You are your own thought police based on, are people going to like this? Or in my little circle, is that going to make me look cool? Or does that forward what people think about me as a unique person? You know, and that's a form.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Definitely. I think you're coming from like more of a social angle. I think, which is like actually really interesting. But I think
because that's the prison we're in now.
Exactly. Yeah. We are in. We just can't see the bars, but we are striving every day for approval from people around us. It's actually quite sickening.
Yeah.
But I think where we always think, or where I always think anyway, is the political use of that when a thought is considered dangerous, or you can't think that, or you're not allowed that, or for some weird reason, let's say hypothetically, a malicious government or dictatorship comes about with that technology, are they able then to just silence a mass amount of people? Like, you can't have this political leaning. You can't.
They're probably doing that now.
And they're doing that now on a very, what seems to be like,
it's like shadow
surface
banning.
level. Yeah, shadow ban, yeah. But
Like-
if we implement that in with the transparency, that's when it could become a problem, I think. Because maybe.
The transparency thing needs to be flat out universal.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be for everybody. I think,
Yeah.
look, capitalism's pretty cool because it makes people go out of their way to do shit, right? And I'm saying that from a person that's basically a shit kicker, and I live off the government, right? And I'm too scared to leave my room and go and kick my own goals, okay? Too fearful. But I still think that capitalism is a good idea. I just do not like the massive contrast. I think there does need to be a way. Look, if you want, you can have a fucking your own personal jet or whatever. That's a pretty cool luxury. But like, if one man is in control of trillions, yeah, that starts getting really weird. I think everybody at max 200 million. That's the most you can make as a person or have access to. And if there's any like tiny sniff of some loopholes being used in law, it should be just fucked up straight away. Like, everyone should go, look, $200 million, that's all you fucking need, right? Like, and let's see what other people who don't have the money and maybe can like start with a better education or like a dope shower and like good food. Like, there might be people that are like literally from a fucking horrible lineage of poverty. Some of these people might have some brilliant things to give, you know?
Totally.
It's the...
What's happening now is an oligarchy. It's basically
What's oligarchy? I've heard of that before, but
well, it's basically just a lot of powerful people consolidating and developing their own consensus above law, because I like to call it a shadow monopoly, and that's what a lot of companies are doing. But you're right. Yeah, imagine if there was a cap on how much you could earn. So like, you can't have these multi-billionaires owning islands and shit, you know. Speaking of violence, yeah. No. Yeah.
I was going to go on something, but I'm actually going to backtrack. The way you brought up talking about how politics and governments, in terms of this, that really sounded very conspiratorial. The way you
combined with tech.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't find that stuff to be conspiratorial anymore. Well, like, we've known for histories that governments are corrupt and that all this shit goes on, and I think that's become a lot more apparent this year, if anything. Yeah. About how much corruption, how much control big industries have over the world.
Yeah.
Over information.
So to call something like that conspiracy and to dismiss that and have it censored through this information stuff that's going on
is rude.
It's fucking
real rude.
Which very
which comes full circle, because initially you asked us like what was the recurring thing, and it has been tech and privacy. Yeah.
Like I was saying to Daryl before, how with Twitter's flagging of you know, the COVID stuff, flagging of the election stuff, that was all, I think that was preempted, because I think it was back in 2019.
They laid the groundwork.
They laid the groundwork and they started dropping these hints about it. And the first person that got, I'm pretty sure that one of the first persons that got flagged on Twitter because of this was Donald Trump.
That's pretty interesting.
And then you see all of this, all the stuff that goes on with Facebook, with Twitter, Instagram. Well, Instagram's another thing, you know, shutting down all this nudity stuff. Now everyone's fucking jumping over to Twitter because Instagram's having a big shutdown.
Oh yeah,
you
can see all kinds of.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've been saying for years that Twitter's been fucking good because it's uncensored
for the pornos.
But they laid the groundwork for. It was very apparent that they knew that a big storm was coming. Where a lot of whether we agree or not, there's going to be a surge in conspiracies because people are fucking scared at the moment. They don't know what's happening. We're going through what I call a fourth industrial revolution. Like things are going through a massive reset, and people don't know what's happening. So of course the conspiracy culture is going to boom because everyone now is on these platforms. Everyone's scared, and I don't know. I don't want to use that word, but it seems so obvious that these fact checking. We were talking about fact checking, how it feels like they were gearing up for a big explosion.
Yeah. And then to find out a lot of these fact checkers, especially the Facebook fact checking, are associated.
I always feel like kind of sick when I see stuff like that, when they're trying to tell me what is wrong and what's not. But that is weird.
But to find out that a lot of these businesses or companies that do the fact checking are associated with companies that
So this
are
is
as
the
long
same
time
how
with
media
fucking
works.
George Soros, Bill Gates, and all the same fucking players.
It's exactly the same way that like Rupert Media and shit works. Like
That was actually another thing that happened this year in Australia. Is they started a campaign to do a bit of an investigation into the Murdoch media, and essentially the same thing about this.
There's a massive monopoly.
The thing,
A shadow monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sounds fucking like a conspiracy.
But it
It's
isn't.
fucking
But
It
you know,
isn't.
but the people that do call that a conspiracy, like we're pretty. I would love. We're all pretty smart. Here. Like I think you're. Very smart.
I'm really smart. No,
I like to think that people that look beyond the surface know that it's not just all conspiracy garbage. There is some truth to that. Yeah.
I had a weird I don't know if I'm going to be able to piece this whole thought that I had together, but sometimes I come up with like little philosophies or whatever. I was thinking a lot about like religion and conspiracies and the way that we see them all. And I'm sure I'm not going to be able to have the second part of this thought or the point, but let's say that there's I think in one of the old Da Vinci, he used to have notebooks or whatever, and he was talking he used to document all his shit, and I think it was in mirror writing, so only he could see it. He was talking about how he's walking down this river or blah blah blah, and he's getting to a cave, and it's a black dark cave, and he doesn't know what's in there, but he's going to go in, and it's it could be poetic, could be blah blah blah, but he didn't write in the book again for 2 years. So there's all these bloody. In fact, I heard that first from one of those ancient alien things or whatever. It's did Leonardo da Vinci see an alien in the cave? Why did he come out and do the helicopter and create robots and all this stuff? So, but I like the visual idea of the cave. If the cave is not lit, you know what I mean? It's lit. if the cave's not, yeah. No, but
Shout out Travis Scott.
Yeah, if the cave's not lit, your brain is going to fill in the blanks, whether it's correct or not, and your imagination can go crazy, right? But if there's a little bit of light in there, you can see, okay, no, so there's just rocks, or there's some rocks there, and I can see maybe a bit of movement in the darker spots. So then your brain starts using its imagination with that information that it's been given. So with that being said, the more something is a big question mark, or the darker the cave, the crazier our brains can go. And this is why there are so many nuts religions that are almost cartoony, and they're based on half fact from what we can see in life. If you see a bastard in real life, he's a demon in scripture or whatever, So it's really interesting that a lot of conspiracy nowadays is being used as a socio-political fucking weapon. But we are at that point now where certain things are just more obvious, and it's not a conspiracy. It is just something. It is literally a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. Yeah. It is something that people in power do not want the public to know. It's not a marketed thing.
Yeah. And I've always said the actual word itself just means people working together for a cause that they an agenda that they know about, and that's big business. There's no conspiracy. It's just how business works. You know, it's and I think that it is almost kind of derogatory almost to dismiss someone's actual research now as a conspiracy, because that's what's happening.
Yeah,
and it's easy to
rude.
dismiss.
I just think everything's being so rude right now.
Because we don't fuck with the shit like Bigfoot and is the moon a piece of cheese?
Yeah, see that stuff is silly because there's not enough data.
Exactly.
Okay?
But
if there's not,
we look at actual corruption in government and companies. We like to think
there are
anyway
some things that if
there's
there's no smoke without fire, that's probably something that's worthy having a look at.
Yeah.
But flat earth stuff is once again because it's very uncommon that a regular person can actually jump out close just out of the atmosphere to see the actual curvature of the planet.
So there's all sorts of
So that's why there's even this war being waged between flat earthers and round earthers. The world is round, if you use your logic, okay, but none of us have actually been up there to see.
Yeah, we don't
so,
know.
But it's way more logical that we are on a sphere. Okay?
But just quickly, there's also, I think, conspiracies that are thrown in as psyops. to make conspiracy culture
look stupid.
completely stupid.
And the alien stuff, a lot of the time, they
it's
think
like
that's a thing.
It undermines the legitimacy of real research.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, but blackmail, drugs, and pedophilia exist.
Okay, Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, where did that come from?
But see, some of that stuff, that gets written off as conspiracy as well.
yeah,
But,
but it is true.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, and it's real hot. Oh, hang on. I gotta. Yes,
I'm starting to sweat.
Look, no, like actually, my point was on that thing, how our imagination goes and blah blah blah.
That's a very good point.
People like to survive this place and whatever the fuck this is, especially as an animal species that literally can look at itself figuratively in a mirror and analyze itself and like have some long-term goals in the future, unlike other animals where they just kind of are very instinctual. We're like figuring out what are our instincts and why. That's a fucking horrible experience. It's a rough experience, right? So especially when it comes to the concept of death or trying to find a form of control for yourself, this is why religions exist. We need whatever conclusion our imagination is happy to give us based on our nurture, right? Whatever conclusion is the most likely or the one that makes us feel rewarded, like, yes, I figured it out, that makes us feel safe about what happens when we die, or, you know, what's actually going on in the world around us to make us feel like, well, at least I figured it out, so it's okay. That's why a lot of conspiracies can be crazy. But these ones about rich people and shit like that, like, think about a job that you've worked at, right? Where you've got a shit cunt who's just a 2IC above you, right? Treats you like shit, right? Have you ever gone into, like, this has happened to me heaps of times. I've gotten like some dumb VIP pass to go into something and hang out backstage, and immediately people that are already, like, in my mind, in the real world, are way better than me, probably nicer people, cooler, probably have more money. But I have this VIP thing, I go backstage and I go, look at all these fucking peasants, right? So the problem is when we get a taste of some kind of hierarchy, it becomes addictive because we've lived in the slums for ages, or like the slums feel horrible, right? So it's, oh man, I read a wicked thing, like frogs, like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to phrase this right, but frogs will pull other frogs down, like when they're both trying to escape from a boiling pot.
Wow.
And
like that's exactly like kind of what it's like.
Ooh, there's another thing about the frogs. When you put a frog in a beaker, a boiling beaker, they don't realize that it's boiling. They'll just sit there and just start burning, and they just don't realize they're fucking burning until it's too late.
Fucked.
Yeah, if you raise the temperature slow enough, they don't notice it. Yeah.
And if you squish a frog with your
if you fucking shoot one. But no, that's very interesting. What
so
you're saying.
it's just tough. Like it's that mindset, and this is why there is a disparity. Is that I don't know what that word means, but that's what my brain's telling me. But like that's why this hierarchy is happening, and this is why the rich people are treating us like fucking scum, because honestly, it's not even their fucking fault. And especially if they've been bred for years like that to literally just feel like, okay, well, they're the losers. They're going to have to worry with all the poverty and the scary shit or whatever, and I'm going to be safe behind my wall. None of us would trade that. Yeah. You know, so to learn like a higher truth or something to make it a little bit easier for all of us to feel a little bit more safe with less fucking question marks in our own imagination, it could actually be a way better thing for everyone, but it needs to be universal, that transparency. Yeah. Otherwise, everyone's going to...
I do like what you said about I think people that win at the game of this life get rewarded. They get the points. They get the shiny gold coins.
Well, it just depends what you think is winning, but hopefully, like I personally think there should be a standard. You can have a bit of competition, like for game and stuff, but you should be able to eat healthy food. There should be decent education on how the human body works as a machine, you know, like, and not just like make it seem like some nerdy thing. There's too many fucking avenues to go down. You need to know how to keep yourself healthy and how to feel happy about helping others, right? Because I'm a fucking cunt. I can barely be nice to people these days because I've been shat on, you know, but that's my own fault. So, and there's plenty more people like that. Like I need more education, and everyone else does, to figure out how we can be nice to each other and it feels good, you know, because sometimes when someone's let down, we naturally, like if you snatch the toy off the kid when you're little, like you've won. If he's crying, you're like, fuck yeah, I've got the toy. Do you know what I mean? So like that goes up in adulthood. So we all subconsciously have this thing of like, as long as you're the one that's happy, and that needs to go away, and everyone needs to have good shelter and being able to clean their asshole.
I like I like how you said how quickly it is though when you're rewarded and you are bestowed upon with, hey, you're better.
Yeah,
you're like a notch above these people. How quickly that kicks into effect.
It's pure nurture, man. Like there's a whole nature nurture debate. I saw this like triplet fucking Netflix show or whatever, and that was really interesting. But it's all nurture, and even for these rich capitalistic people, blah blah blah, and they've like people like Mark Zuckerberg. He's probably, I don't know what his background was, but he was probably a shit kicker in comparison to where he is now. Okay, and when you get lucky like that, you're not gonna fucking look back. So the thing is, like, but with these like long lineages of rich people, they need fucking education as well on how to close this fucking gap. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe they're also educated in a fucking weird way that literally we are cattle.
Well, a lot of the elite go to weird elite schools where they just literally, it's basically glorified fraternities.
Literally, I think they don't even know the difference.
They don't know what they don't know what a bus is. Like they never have lived a public life. It's always isolated. It's always the best.
Like a completely different society. Like I feel like we're in this massive Amish village, and
we're in the big farm. I call it a farm.
Yeah,
the human farm.
I've always thought of it as we're in the massive Amish village, and they're in this tiny little thing where the future is. But I think they're a little bit weird. I think we all need to kind of bring shit to the forefront and do dope shit. But it's proper weird. The weirdest part is like woke people, right? Like I'm part Aboriginal. Even like everyone's like rolls their eyes at that, but I'm just very white looking. I didn't go to the protests and shit. And there's some like other like woke Aboriginal people that I'll debate with this kind of stuff, and they just fucking walk off because they're hell hipsters or something. Man, some hipsters, man, they're just nuts with this kind of shit because it's wrong. Like when you go to these protests and shit, you're not actually making a difference. Look, you can go there and feel self-righteous and shit, but there's no difference actually being made. Like what difference has any of that made apart from making you look better online for your Instagram followers? Because if that's part of your shtick, if you're a hot influencer chick, I don't care about this. Like 2 weeks ago was the bushfire, and then it might be some fucking tsunami, and God knows what it's going to be next week, like renewable clothing or some shit, that's what makes them go, look, I'm not like the other girls or whatever, but they all are, right? When they go to these protests or things like that, they think that they're making some fucking difference, but they're not. And on that topic, right, I'm so sick of it being these people for like the wrong reasons actually going to make a difference. The biggest fucking travesty in the world is like when you literally like if you've ever seen fucking A Bug's Life, that's an amazing example of what you actually can do. It's like when one ant stands up, then they all stand up. And it's like the problem is like people don't actually realize if like millions of people got together and just ran, you might lose a couple of people from some AK-47 shots, but but there are also people that are fucking hanging themselves every day. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to hang yourself today, don't. And you can be at the front of the line. You could literally just rampage through everything. We could fuck the whole thing up.
There's more of us.
Absolutely.
There's more of us.
But see, we're literally just in this fucking cage in
our
own
prison.
heads.
It's a mental prison. It's a mental prison. And I find it fishy when the mainstream media and the government back your movement, something's fishy.
Yeah.
And I cop a lot of flack for saying that because it suddenly means I don't believe in rights or that there's systemic rights. Of course there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not going to be solved by gathering in a group that is pre-organized with police everywhere.
It was just a pre-COVID fucking like.
I still went. We still went.
I want to say something on this topic, but I have no ground because I am a middle-aged white male.
It doesn't matter. You do live on the planet, though, right?
Okay,
so you can.
Apparently not for some.
Okay, yeah. So because Black Lives Matter was a big thing that happened this year.
It was a big thing.
It's a huge thing that happened this year. I totally 100% agree that Black Lives Matter. I just think that what happened, especially with that George Floyd shit, could have been fucking orchestrated.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a whole bunch of bullshit.
It could be.
And it's funny as well because you're saying this. No, if you were saying it, I was mentally saying it as you were thinking of it. what I personally noticed is so much more white people standing up for this Black Lives Matter thing. As well as white people dismissing black people who were talking against Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Isn't that a really weird, interesting thing? Because they'll say it's like, oh, that's from like white guilt or whatever. But there is something proper sus, and it's probably not something like it might be orchestrated, it might not be, but it's that whole thing of like white people. Like I don't know. I'm so sick of hearing that straight white male is like the fucking epitome of like the worst person on the planet. To be honest, I think some of the better people in my life are more like that, you know, straight white males. You know, like I know a lot of people that are fucking assholes. As
I was walking down to the march down here to meet you guys, there was a bunch of these, must have been like 16-year-old white girls, like 5 of them, with carrying signs that said "white privilege is real." I'm like, well, okay, give me your keys, or give me like. If you believe the white privilege is a problem, then give up everything you have.
I just want to say as well, like for my white friends out there, no, look, there's a staggering amount of poor white people that are suffering just as much as everyone else, and to think that for some politically correct reason that we're going to spin the wheel, and 2020, these guys are going to cop it now.
There is no motherfucker on this planet that is without suffering. Okay,
everyone is suffering. I think,
but it's what bugs me. It bugs me because this will piss people off. But everyone's like, yes,
well, it doesn't matter. What are they
right now,
do?
It's black people. Because a black guy got killed by a cop in front of the fucking TV,
all right, see that?
Which could be fucking orchestrated as well. I'm not going to go deep on that. But because that became the issue, that is what everyone had to focus on. Forget anyone else that got oppressed or anything else that happened. Right now, it's Black Lives. I'm like, yes, but...
Look, you're right, okay? I look at the George Floyd stuff and like just like anyone else, like it makes you feel it makes you feel gross to watch that, okay?
Oh, Big Floyd.
The Pink Floyd. I love Pink Floyd.
No, Big Floyd.
Big Floyd, right?
The porn star.
Oh...
You know, he was a porn star.
Yeah, the big. Not
a porn star.
I have seen the big dick pic.
Yeah,
that's a big dick. You know. But anyway, I see it and it makes me fucking sick. But I hate all police brutality shit, like on anyone. Yeah. It looks fucked.
Yeah.
And God, you just want to fucking grab the cops through the screen and just rip their fucking head off. You know, and smash them with a brick. Like it just pisses you off. You know, and like. Obviously, there's been a massive oppression, and so we're trying as hard as we can to fucking really double down and going, oh, look, fuck, the past generation fucked up. I do not know anyone in my fucking generation that is actually racist.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone at all. I've only met one person that said that they wouldn't marry an African chick because it won't look like them if they had a kid. But I'm like, man, I personally, I think African chicks are super hot, okay? So that to me was a bit weird. But I've never known anyone that genuinely values anyone different based on their creed or whatever. If you're a cunt, you're a cunt. That's it. If you're a good person, you're a good person. Absolutely, but I know heaps of people of my own race that are fucking assholes. But I know there are plenty of black people that are assholes too.
And also, like, simply using words, like, is that really racist?
No,
like,
it isn't.
Accidentally using the wrong word politically incorrectly.
Language
is that really actual racism?
No, it's not. It fucking isn't. Actions speak louder than words. That's what I think. Like, the police brutality thing needs to fuck right off. Okay? They're meant to, like, on a universal scale, right? 100%. They are meant to be protecting us. But now the government is 100%. Literally using them as like, if you can imagine a government or a higher power, these smaller rich communities or whatever, you can imagine, okay, so they got a big gate outside, but that might not be enough. So now the police literally are like little worker ants. If you look at the ant hierarchy, now they're like guarding the higher ups, and they're not working for people.
No.
And that's why I think, like,
it's like creating this police state that we talked about fucking many years ago.
Yeah,
we got it here with Basil Zemblin's fucking police state. But it's funny now, see how we just transitioned from Black Lives Matter to police brutality?
But see, that's what it actually should be about.
But that's actually what happened as well. Like, in my mind, seeing a lot of what happened this year in the media and all stuff, the line between the Black Lives Matter and the police brutality just blurred. I'm like, hey, hang on, one day we're complaining about Black Lives Matter and cops killing black people, Then the next 2 days later, we're talking about police brutality, and it just got so blurred. I'm like, wait, what's the issue here? Which is the issue? And it just became everyone's trying to put all together.
Everyone kind of chimed in. Then it became, defund all the police, defund all police.
Because hell, I saw videos of black cops beating up white people. I saw videos of black cops beating up black people. And
it's that, once again, it's that same thing when I got that VIP pass and I'm like, look at all this scum. When one of these cops who may be in their nurture, in their path, or whatever, felt like they were the person being choked at one point, and so just like taking that toy away from the kid, if he's crying, I'm not, okay? So if I'm doing the choking this time and I'm being like, get down, you fucking, whatever, like they are like, in their mind, they're actually saying, you're more safe for doing this. Like, it's a very childish and more animalistic thing, but that is actually soothing them to be that brutal, because something along the way has made them feel like they need to justify to themselves that they're in control. And it's really sad.
This is the Mission Control Podcast.
Without going, I'm just trying to pretend it doesn't exist, because I'm just so sick of just the phrase Corona. Just like when you hear a band that you don't like and people talk about it all the time, it's like,
mind control.
Shut the fuck up.
It's repetition.
Yeah, I barely like even thinking about it. It just pisses me off. I just cannot wait for the day where I can go into a shop and not see those old fucking duct tape crosses on the ground. Oh my god!
But we think it's there permanently. But
we think this is the new world. This is the new normal.
It's possible, but even Elon, I don't watch a lot of Joe Rogan, but I like watching the clips sometimes of people that I respect or whatever. But even Elon said, man, the death tolls or whatever is being blown out of proportion. And that alone just says a lot. He's a billionaire, okay? Yeah. So but he's pretty cool. And I'm not a political person at all, and I couldn't give a fuck, because I do not believe at all that one person is in control of any territory. It's always money, and it's always back scratching. You scratch mine, I scratch yours. It is never what one person thinks. It's just to keep the people happy and make it feel like they have some kind of democracy or choice, when it's not real. It's fucking not real. But anyway, I do kind of like Trump in that sense, only because he's funny and honest, and that's okay. I like people without a filter, because then at least I'm like, well, look, he's an old cunt, and who cares, whatever. But this shit, I don't think Corona is actually that much more deadly. If you look at all the statistics, and this is as far as I'm going to go into it, look at the flu statistics. Yeah. Okay, and then just look at the world population statistics. Okay, they're very, very close. Yeah. It's very close. Okay, so even with all this social distancing and shit like that, I think viruses and shit, you can pass a bacteria on. I think in a matter of a couple of weeks, man, everyone's got a little trace of it. It's how big's your dose? You know what I mean? With a virus, or does it survive long enough on that person's skin or something? So why are the coronavirus, if it's seemingly, I guess, spreads in the same way that a normal influenza, it's the strain of it or whatever it is, why did that spread somehow worse or to comparable numbers to that of the seasonal flu that happens every year? And if you look at the spikes every single year in Google Trends, right? Have a look, just type in flu or whatever. It's always late July, early August. And it's the exact same for coronavirus, even this year. Isn't that weird? Even though the brunt of the lockdown was around this time.
And just quickly, no one bat an eyelid when 2 million people died of Ebola. No one was calling for an Ebola vaccine. Nobody.
No. So it is basically being used as a...
it's a launch pad.
As a great reset.
It's a launch pad.
For people.
I just want to say really quickly, it's weird when I bring up the idea that I have issues with the corona and things like that.
The corona narrative.
Yeah, exactly, the narrative. People immediately go to, bro, you think it's a hoax? I'm like, no, I'm not saying...
actually sad, yeah.
I'm not saying it's a hoax. I'm saying be careful of powerful entities, companies, corporations, governments using this as a catalyst to increase their power, which is happening.
That's exactly what it is.
So,
it's the great reset. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, I find it so sad that
it is very sad.
Immediately
on that
put
front
in that,
for sure, because it does affect everyone. And like immediately, you get thrown into like the kook category. You know,
I
you're a
think
kook.
there is like so much psychological stuff
With a
going
C,
on
by
around
the
this
way.
stuff.
And not a G. How fucking dare you?
No, I think there's so much psychological effects happening because of. I'm not going to say psychological warfare. I'm not going to say that it's pre-planned, like it's designed to be like that. But I think there is so much psychological stuff happening, especially with this guilt of not wanting to get other people sick or not wanting to spread it to your older people and your loved ones. And I think the way that the media and these health officials and stuff have been pushing that has not, again, I'm not going to say intentionally, but it is creating some sort of psychological
An
effect
animosity,
that people
man.
just sort of like, oh, well, we better do this.
Yeah,
we better follow
just in
these
case.
rules. Yeah,
You know,
just
and
in
like
case.
I think most people would like, apart from those like, what are the anti-maskers or whatever, like the hell, like American fat ladies, like I ain't wearing no
All
mask.
those sovereign citizens
Yeah,
that are like,
yeah.
I have a right to, and I'm like,
You know,
I kind of get behind what they're saying,
Exactly,
but I also
but-
think they are scapegoated into like
I would be
looking
happy
crazy,
if everyone wore their masks when they needed to or whatever, but at the same time,
Same here.
they would be happy to go, you know what? I think it's bullshit too. Instead of going, well, you think this is a hoax? It'd be like, yeah, just put on the mask just in case. Cool.
yeah.
And like, you know, display some caution. That's common sense. It's courtesy, right? But at the same time, like really have a sit down and have a think and be able to like, I just love the concept of people being able to make up their own mind.
The
you
thing
know?
that really bugs me is I feel like being here in Perth, Western Australia, we actually don't have any sort of position to
we don't know.
talk about it. We don't know what it is. We weren't hit hard. We didn't have major lockdowns.
No mask mandate.
No mask mandates. We did have this sort of the border closures. We did have these restrictions on numbers and stuff. But we didn't have this, mask mandates. We didn't have mass deaths.
We didn't have a curfew.
We didn't have curfew. We had nothing like that. So we've had it fucking good.
We have had it really good, hey?
But then again, that doesn't say to me that
We're like a white person
I'm not
looking
saying
at a
that
black
we're well
issue.
off because the rest of the world is fucked. Because, I mean, look, huge deaths happen in Italy. But then again, Italy's also got a huge number of older people that die from a broken toenail.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'd love to just Google influenza deaths, Italy 2017, and they're really close.
Yeah, but you probably can't anymore because the Google results are probably so manipulated and controlled.
It's still all there, but it's quite interesting if you go back in the last 5 or so years. Every one of them, like the big news headlines, they kind of push towards this, like maybe this mandatory vaccine, but it's like it never worked. It didn't go big enough. Or something.
Yeah,
you know, it's like each year they've tried to make it sound like it's the worst flu season ever.
It's
like, well, we can't really do this unless we create this new swine flu.
You remember that
Exactly,
that happened here in Perth back in, I think it was 2019 last year. They had that massive flu sort of scare. And they're telling everyone, they were giving out free vaccines at pharmacies.
It's pretty nuts.
Last year, I'm like, well, okay. And that was a huge, and no one sort of, I was having a big thing about it, saying, get your free vaccine from a pharmacy because of a normal flu.
Yeah.
And then happily next year, this massive big corona shit happens, and then the whole flu. I'm like,
there's always been vaccines for a lot of these flus, and they get pushed out pretty quickly. And like the thing is, I'm not. By the way, I'm just going to go on record and say I do think coronavirus or like COVID-19 is a strain of influenza. I just don't think it's like that much worse or anything. It's disproportionately worse.
I would agree that
not worse. Yeah,
I would agree that it probably spreads quicker,
and it is a real thing.
It infects more, but in terms of it being as deadly,
But every
I don't
flu
think so.
every year is a mutation. That's how the bacteria survives. Because we become immune to it, and to survive like a fungus or anything else, it needs to adapt to its surroundings. So these influenzas, just like any other organism, it needs to survive and eat and blah, blah, blah. So it needs our body. Okay, so if it doesn't mutate in a way, like it will just die out. Okay, so that's exactly what happens with every seasonal flu each year. And that's why they're saying the social distancing thing is a horrible thing for us because it actually fucks with our immune system that we literally need to be around sweaty, dirty people, to build up the immunity over time. Yeah. So, I just think it's another one. It's just another offshoot of what every year we get a new one and the body fights it off. And some people die but people fucking die all the time.
People
die all the fucking time.
How many people died of suicide this year?
Yeah, exactly.
And no one fucking cares.
From the lockdown.
That's why it's fucking stupid. It was wrong.
I'm just gonna.
And I cannot actually believe that we're still hearing about this. I can't even believe it's a real thing that happened.
What I can't stand is this faux concern over old people all of a sudden. And it's not like I'm trying to say that they don't matter, but don't fucking pretend like you're wearing that shit because of...
They're on the last grains of sand on their fucking timer anyway.
Do you know what? Did anyone ask? Did anyone ask an old person? Do you know what I mean? Because you know how like everyone's justifying what they're doing because old people like if
they literally wanted to pull the heartstrings of that.
Do you know what the irony is? An old person would probably be like, look, just take the mask off and live your fucking life.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
and that's why they're up at 5 a.m, like with a spring in their step. Yeah, exactly right.
Did you ask the old people what they feel? Like this whole virtue signaling, saying that you're wearing a mask because of your like, come on.
The whole that word there, the virtue signaling and this guilt tripping.
Exactly.
The psychological guilt tripping I think that is the problem, and that is the result. That is because of the media, and that is because of government. Like that's what I mean. I'm trying so hard not to believe that it's some kind of orchestrated psyop. But it's I feel like that is the resulting effect is what's happening.
I think very rarely. I think look, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, right? But we live in this world where there's just like it's constant matter bouncing off matter, and I'm sure physics is just playing out this thing. Like if you drop a ball at exactly the same point in space with the same gravity or whatever, it's going to drop the same way. Okay. It's the same with physics. Like it could be the tiniest first collision in the start of time or whatever, and it's just playing out the way it's meant to play out.
It's
okay.
Snowball Effect thing. Yeah.
But so with that being so chaotic in the way that it is, and it's chaos and adaptation or whatever, and you can have like an inception of an idea. Maybe they go, okay, it's mutated over time. So it's not one person going, let's press play, we're going to do this and change the world. But it might be a couple of people having a chat and going, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, I heard that this company does this and blah, blah, blah. And these people are quite high up, and they have the first pick of all the cool new shit that's going on in the tech or the money-making worlds or blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, like, word spreads in these high societies, and they go, well, pretty soon, like, I think this word that, like, this year, WHO, I spoke to Bill, and they're actually like, because they want a little bit more precaution in terms of like safety, or like just to test it out, or they're going to do a bit of a study. So actually what's going to go on, we've even spoken to China, and they're going to go, yeah, we're the ones that it actually accidentally got out. Like they're all in with each other. Like I really doubt that there's like super conflict with like the higher ups in every country.
I see it's not a dictatorship run by one person. It's more akin to a gang war of multiple people.
But it's the leaders.
It's
the leaders. My brother was saying this about like what bikies are like, right? Usually, unfortunately, there's some really intelligent guys up the top, scary guys you wouldn't fuck with, but they're brilliant entrepreneurs. And then the rest of the people are the ones that get fucked over at the bottom a lot of the time. And see, this is the thing. If you you work at a job, okay, and in most jobs there's a hierarchy. We were talking about this before with a shitty 2IC that's picking on you, okay? Usually, like speaking, like you go all the way up to the top, and that one person, let's just speak about retail, okay? In a retail environment, you go all the way up to the top, and the one person maybe owns everything, right? And his pals probably maybe own the competition and another few chains or whatever. But those cunts are just having lunch together, right? It's the people that are like in the middle of the pyramid. They're the ones that believe their own bullshit too much and think that they're really important, and they got to serve your daddy up the top. And they're the ones really that is like, and it's trickling down, like just making us stressed out about problems that we actually don't give a fuck about. We don't care about like Trump or Biden, but like it's the people in the middle rung that have more to lose than to gain or something. They're the ones in that middle rung that are the stressed ones. And
well,
like,
they have an agenda.
They think that pulling the strings is like the good idea and like all this shit, and they're fucking trapped as well. You know what I mean? The people at the top, man, they can just go and sail around fucking. They don't give a fuck.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's compartmentalization, and it's an illusion. And yeah, you're right. Usually, people on the bottom end, they're the ones with the division creating this artificial conflict. When really, at the top, there is some cohesion. It's not as divided as it is. It's all an illusion.
And like with what you were saying. So these middle rung people, and I'm going to say middle rung is Bill Gates. I'm going to probably assume there's a couple of grades higher, and there might even be a grade or so higher than Bezos. They're not going to, we don't know about these people. Like, no. I'm going to say, like, when it comes to like the human race and look at what we can fucking build, okay, we're pretty clever, and there's a big spectrum. I think the most powerful, the most like insane, like crazy, we'll never hear about. We're that low on the chain, okay? It's the middle rung, okay? So these people are the ones that are like, trying to capitalize on a certain thing, and it is semi-orchestrated, but they're just going with the flow, and they'll tweak as it's unfolding. You know what I mean? It's a mutation, just like a virus. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's organic. It's organic.
It's an organic, very organic.
Well, that's why I wanted to just explain like my belief behind the T-shirt.
You're probably right. There are people that have fully capitalized on it, and people that most of the public would trust and love.
Yeah, but that's the way that I see it. Is I'm not saying that it's orchestrated. I'm not saying it's designed, but I guarantee that there are people capitalizing on the situation, taking advantage to bring about this. I don't want to say new world order because that is such a really bad thing, but this
new world order happens every fucking 6 months.
Yeah, the term
world's always new.
But this idea that they finally have this opportunity to take this control and implement these systems
to centralize their control even further, or to capitalize it with their own agenda, I mean, you were talking about the mental effect. Like, do you? I know people this year that I'm not going to name names, absolutely not. But I do know people that have
who. No, I'm joking.
No, like people that are having a rough time this year. You know, either through employment or, like we said, like this is a very powerful, like mental kind of game that's being played out. I feel, on social media, that's the battlefield now. Is social media. But I have seen people really change this year. I think this year's been a big catalyst for change for a lot of people. Like, you know, I've seen, you know, stuff. Like this has been a year where things have come to light. I feel like things are coming to light. I feel like a transitional period. Maybe this is on a macrocosmic scale where humanity itself, like, we're going into 4D, 5D, and in order to go there, we have to purge this shit that's happening now. And so
accept enough fantasy as reality.
Sometimes I lie in bed and think maybe like we kind of needed this. You know what I mean?
I think the best thing that could have happened instead of Corona was like, man, 6 months of the internet just not working.
Yeah.
That would have been the wickedest reset of the planet. Yes. It's like in the exact same way that, like, if there's all these smokers on the planet or blah, 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 just fucking make it impossible to get your hands on some. And it's like, man, just no internet worldwide for 6 months would have fucked up the world way more at a higher magnitude than Corona did, but in a more positive way, I think.
Yeah.
And
push through the cold
they
sweat.
should have done that, like, instead of like, let's prepare the world if people get a cough. But instead it's like, well, okay, let's not put all our eggs into one basket. Can we still run this world if the internet's gone? That would be the best fucking thing for the planet.
I would love that.
Instead, they offered free Pornhub premium.
You see, man, like, I love the internet. Don't get me wrong, man, but we got spoiled too quick. Okay?
Yes, yeah.
And that goes into porn. I fucking love my porn, especially when I'm on amphetamine-based medication. That's the only time really where I watch porn. But see, that's when you're also starved of dopamine, you're chasing that shit, and then you realize how fucking horrible this shit is for everybody. You know, like these poor kids, they don't know any other fucking way. You know, like it is mental.
They're going to develop that foundation of blowing out their dopamine at such an early age.
I've always
they're going to be chasing it for the rest of their life.
I'm not going to be like some
like me.
Dumb revolutionist or some shit. Yeah. I would just love to see some fucking Edward Snowden or something, and they just do some fucking sleeper cell or whatever, and just blow up every fucking hub of the internet, and just let them figure that out. But even just that small amount of time where people, like, it's like literally the blindfolds have been taken off and everyone's outside, like seeing the real sun without having to take a photo of it.
That is
Like-
now, that to me is a real reset.
That would be amazing.
Everyone go without internet.
That would be fucking
for
amazing.
a couple of months.
Imagine the world for a little bit to feel like what it was when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You know, just to see. And like there are so many people, even 18 years old, man, they have never even experienced a world without that.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they probably don't even, they haven't experienced what it's like to have a fucking actual photo frame of a family in the house. Because, you know, you've got 5,000 photos on your phone. So like, wow. You know, like, that would be the best thing to happen in the world. That'd be so fucking dope.
That to me is a reset.
That would be like a movie. Isn't that
not
weird?
this fucking phony,
No.
let's track everybody reset.
No,
That's not a reset.
That is
see,
fucking so
The
dumb.
funny thing
I
that
hate it.
what me and Daryl have actually been saying a lot this year is that this year feels like a movie.
It does.
Like, it
but a
feels like-
shit movie.
A
It's
shit
not
movie, yeah.
not good, you know.
Bit of a
Like I
B
would have,
grade,
and I'd say you would
badly
too.
written movie.
More like zombies would have been sick because at least then it's like you can actually see the threat, and you're
Yeah.
like,
I think
Okay,
we can,
it's proper
I think
real.
I think we do have zombies. I think we can see that threat. but
Yes,
it's
yes.
not this brain eating
No.
zombie. It's this mindless just walking
scrolling.
through
Scrolling.
society.
We always talk about simulation theory, and we talk about this. I always love talking about this idea about NPCs.
Yeah.
And it feels like, okay, we don't have full blown
We're getting more.
Walking Dead.
We're getting more NPCs.
But we have a lot of people just existing in our peripheral that don't really. It sounds mean. It sounds so.
Yeah, I know.
It sounds like I'm
I know.
saying
I
that
know what
they,
you mean.
that they don't
matter or
they don't
whatever,
matter.
but yeah,
I'm not
but they
saying that.
do,
But they just exist and they serve the system, and that's
and they may not
it.
know any other way.
But
They don't
he-
even know
but
to
here's-
question.
There are some so infected that they go out and police other people not following the system.
Yeah,
And that's what I feel. The whole
like
Karen
a program.
thing. Like,
Yeah,
Another thing this year, the Karen. Like how that look. I want to go into this really quickly because how awful would it be to if you knew
just gonna
some
get another drink, but keep going.
if you knew someone named Karen.
Well, again,
Like-
I feel like that's become a bit of a psychological thing as well. In the
Totally,
way
yeah.
that they drive this idea of this Karen and create the memes and create all of this stuff about Karen. That
I'm sorry. It's here. It's here. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, like they created this mythology around Karen. In like a lot of people were saying, like, what a great way to basically make anyone complaining about bad service look crazy.
yeah.
You know, and not only that, but in this whole world of virtue signaling about equality and treating everyone equal and right, and yet you're going to rag on the amount of people that I heard out in public when someone was like, "Oh, excuse me, my order's right," and they're like, "We got a Karen." Oh, it's a Karen. Like everyone started If you complain about bad service, it's a fucking Karen. I think it's a fucking retail conspiracy so that people that complain can be
That's
dismissed.
interesting. That's
Can
interesting.
be dismissed because, like, my point before was like, in this world of like equality and whatever, you're gonna rag on someone named Karen. Like the word Karen became a thing.
The name, yeah.
The name? What if your daughter was named Karen and she was
Yeah.
getting picked on in school? Like, fucking Karen! And which would have happened. That would have happened.
Absolutely.
And like for people to perpetrate this idea of, oh, it's a Karen, and then everyone had a different idea of what a Karen was. There's the retail Karen. There's the wear your mask Karen.
It's
There's
basically
there's
man.
all sorts of
just-
Karens.
it became the referral name for anyone that's got that sort of
Complaining. Yeah.
complaining, nagging.
But see, that's the
or
thing. You know,
questioning.
Or like, or killing
that is a thing, though, right?
a downer, being a downer.
My
You're a
mum's
Karen.
my mum's a bit like that, right? She's a donna. She always embarrasses me in like terms of like retail things, but it's like definitely that generation of mums. I think my parents' generation or whatever, they actually never actually matured in a weird way. I don't think a lot of our parents' generation actually were built to become parents.
They
yeah.
haven't emotionally
Yeah,
matured, and I feel this way about my parents sometimes
it's
as well.
pretty weird.
I love them. I love them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like during my time growing up, I feel like I was parenting them how to parent or something. Like, it was weird, and like now it's just a big clusterfuck of like nothingness. But anyway, in that generation, there were a lot of like these entitled mums or whatever. They probably saw something on Today Tonight or Channel 7 News saying you have the right to say like you have customer fucking rights or whatever, and that's just played on their mind, and like, you know, they all like to connect and like copy each other. It's like a flock of sheep, and there is like this little cross section of society in that demographic, and probably one of the most common names for that tuck shop arm fat mum with the short hair with the greys like growing out, and like the fucking big pink shirt with the big fat titties coming out, and she's like, her husband doesn't love her or something because like she doesn't know that she needs to just go for a run and change her diet, but instead she will get her release by like Karen goes down the shop and fucking just really embarrasses herself and like pisses up. It's like, come on, dude, you don't need to be that just okay, cool, you've maybe been wrong, but you can just go up and go, sorry dude, like there's no, sorry to say this, but there's actually, I asked for no pickles. Is it cool if like you can change it up? But it's like, I asked for no pickles, I have a right in this like blah blah blah, and it's just like, dude, don't. It's like, it's fucking embarrassing. So that's why the Karen, like, it's a thing. Like, there are actual Karens, right? And it's more on that demographic of mum lady that has this weird entitlement that makes you cringe out.
Yeah.
And I hopefully, I don't think it's going to affect many young people called Karen.
Yeah.
It just might be a funny joke. But
but I think it is true that the way that media and social media and people turn that into an ideology. Is that
so you're saying it's like it's a weapon against being able to exercise your rights?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah. So
it undermines anyone questioning anything, like anyone kicking up a fuss that was going to kick up a fuss were probably hesitant because of the whole Karen thing.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what, I'm not going to bring up the fact that this is wrong because I don't want to be called a Karen.
That's true. It could be a product of that. But see, man, at the end of the day, like, you got to also practice assertiveness.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to be a Karen if they're trying to dispute something. You know, like, come with your point, have like strength in your heart. You don't have to fucking flail around and like ruin everyone else's day to correct a small problem, or a misunderstanding.
Like, it says on my receipt, no pickles.
It's the way that the Karens.
Do we know any Karens? Do you know any Karens?
My mum's a bit like that sometimes. Really
No.
embarrassed.
Actually named Karen.
Named Karen? No.
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 That's the thing.
I know two Karens.
But it's just like it could have easily have been Helen or Donna or like it's a very 70s.
They tried to make a male version called Kyle, I think. I don't know. There was like that's the male version. That's the guy that's I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know how to segue into this. So I'm
sorry.
Sure,
I feel like that was boring. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that was wicked.
But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of COVID babies this year, and I doubt a single one is going to be called Karen. Aren't people coming up with strange names?
Well, see, that's the thing. It's just
like shoe and stuff.
But that's marketing for you. I mean, no one's called Adolf anymore. And now no one's going to be called Karen. Rightfully so.
That is kind of true, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like once someone like fucks a name up, and like makes that name not cool, no one's going to use it. You know.
Can I just change the whole direction for a sec? What, you want to have a break?
I want to have a...
Just smoke on air.
I should have a smoke.
Just smoke on air. Fuck it.
Smoke on the air.
It's the end. Just enjoy it.
Smoke on air. It looks cool as fuck.
Ben, I just want to say...
Yeah.
I think you are super talented.
No, I'm not very talented, but I'm clever.
Hang on, wait. Look, see how you just rejected that compliment? I think that's an issue that I also have. But I know it feels weird, but I actually think you are super talented. Like, the shit that You're younger as well, right?
I'm 30.
Yeah.
You guys are 60, right?
May as well be.
Next year. Next year will be 60.
No, but the reason that I love chatting with you is because I like chatting with younger people because I feel like they have, like, that
makes me feel really fucking nice that you put me in the bracket of younger people.
No.
By the way. After just turning 30, like, that's real nice.
It's like your blinkers haven't narrowed. You're still like. You have this thing. I feel like young people
the opposite of what you
I know.
there, though. I feel fucking dark and ruined.
I know. But no, I've always known you were always like. There's few people that I know that I feel like are not trail. What's the word? They're early adopters of shit. You like looking at the next shit, and I think you do it really well. I've seen you stream. Even though you're kind of making fun at the whole thing.
I don't really like committing to stuff.
I know, but
I haven't found what my groove is, but I like fucking around with a few things.
Here's what shits me off about Ben. is that I know you're super talented, all that stuff, but you have this thing that I also have where I'm almost like scared to commit.
Because
I'm like, I can do that, but I don't want
fear
to
of
be
success
that.
fear of
that-
like choosing the wrong path,
that
and
is what
then you get
fear of
analysis
failure.
paralysis.
Yes, and then also fear of being this idea that now I'm that thing.
Yeah, you get locked into it big time, and I've always had a big problem with that.
And I don't want to be anything.
And
right?
I don't know if I actually want anything. Like, I think if you want anything, if you want to be anything in life or achieve anything, you have to want it. That's what I think talent is, right? Or like, look, throughout time, I always idolized rock stars or big scientists, tech people, amazing artists and stuff like that. I don't know where I picked that up. Maybe because I liked a certain thing. My mum said, "Oh, you're a cool kid because you liked that," and my brain's connected with that. That's where I get my value or whatever. So I've always, I guess, admired these kind of people and tried to emulate in that way, or try and compare myself to these great people and wanted to be that. But so the thing is, I've sucked up a whole bunch of knowledge, and I feel like I've developed my own very strong core taste in what I like in terms of art or like whatever. But I do not want anything in like that, and that's the most important thing. I wanted it growing up. Okay, and like I spent a lot of time, made a lot of sacrifices, like getting into like being the Ben Smith or whatever fake name I fucking had at the time, because I thought fake names were cool, like Ziggy Stardust or Coat Silver or whatever at that time. But like that was still in the process of like learning what these people do. As life has progressed, man, I actually I just feel sad and scared and angry, and that's, if you want to achieve anything, that's not what you want. I feel like I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. But I would love to find my groove in something that actually makes me want to wake up and do that, you know? So like playing around with streaming, sometimes it'll take about an hour out of my day of a bit of fun. But, you know, to really find success, man, you need to actually want something more than the next motherfucker. Yeah. And you could be as shit as you fucking like. You can have no fucking talent. Talent, to me, is the person, like, say, in a time frame, 6 months, say. One cunt goes, I want to be a real good guitarist. And the other kid goes, oh, yeah, me too. I might do that. And the other guy's like, yeah, all right, mate. All right. And so that other kid that usually is like insecure, maybe his mate's going to be better, he's the one that practices more because he thinks he has to. All right, because the other guy's more cocky. And I'm the cocky one, okay? And I'm talking from experience of people that have overtaken me tenfold, okay? Because I was cocky. Like that person...
Ego, right?
Yeah. That person, right, that like keeps... I don't think ego is... Two things. I think ego is not as bad as people try and make that out to be.
Yeah.
I also don't think ego deaths is a real thing with psychedelics. Like that's just, you've just adopted a second ego. That's the hippie douche. Okay. Like there's no fucking enlightenment that comes out of this shit. You can maybe like force change. It doesn't matter. We're going off on a tangent. The thing is, the person that thinks that they need to improve more and really enjoys what they're doing and learning better, in that 6 months' time, they become the most talented one. It doesn't matter who the one who like had some chops just before, like, or had a head start. Exactly. It's the person that finds that time. That's what talent is. It's not like you come out of a pussy and you fucking like Beethoven. Okay, sometimes that might happen, but there are other factors that come into play with that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, no one just wakes up one day and can play better than you. You still have to put in that time. Yeah. Okay. And if you care enough and you're smart enough about problem solving, let's say if you want to learn piano and you go, okay, well, I'm putting in the hours, but this cunt's not putting in as many hours and he's doing better than me. So then if your goal is like you still want that more than the next guy, you go, okay, so then how do I fix my coordination? Maybe that's it. Or maybe it's this or that. And so that's how I operate, man, because I'm pretty fucking uncoordinated. I'm kind of naive, very naive, or like... not very good, and I put myself down a lot. So throughout my life, I've autistically, I guess, like learnt to adapt in these senses, like with it. But I don't think talent's a thing, and I don't. It remains to be seen whether it's fucking even worth it in the long run. Exactly. If it was even meant for anything, if it's fate, or whether I'm just gonna wither away like I feel like I have, or just top myself, you know. So you know,
two things I really want to say with that. One is you're so right, because it's so easy, especially in music, blah, 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 in the creative field, whatever, that whenever I feel insecure or cocky, like you said, people usually resort to cockiness because there's a deep-seated insecurity.
Absolutely.
And my deep-seated insecurity was that there are people doing more work than I am.
Yeah,
and
I'm lazy.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And so I meet it with fuck that. Like
And you judge them and pick
you
on.
judge
Every
them
time
and
I
you
rip
go,
on someone else, I'm just
Totally.
literally.
It's
like,
me. It's
I
me.
may as well just be saying I'm not happy with what I'm doing.
Exactly. I am not happy because people that are genuinely fulfilled don't care about what other people
Absolutely
are doing.
not.
And second thing is I like how you said you have to actually want it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I get older, I feel like
More and more content.
I'm swimming out into sea and I'm looking back at the shore that was the dream to become some muso.
Man, I know exactly what you mean.
And as I get older, I'm swimming further. It's still there in the distance, but it's barely a speck now. But I don't feel a sense of loss or anything like that. But you're right. If you don't actually want it, you're not going to get it.
Man, to be fair, like sometimes I get like little bursts of shit. I can't help getting obsessed over certain topics and excited. Like, not erection wise, but some topics just excite me and my brain just goes nuts on them. But I gave up that dream of like the artist thing.
Just
of
line it up. Fuck it. Yes, I'm sorry.
Just do
man.
it.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like, I gave up that, like, I started swimming offshore when I got like my second serious girlfriend, you know, and I kind of wish that although I do not regret the time that I had with that person, I kind of wish like, what if, you know, and I remember
Just have it if you want. Yeah.
What's this?
Sorry?
What do you want? You want this head? Is it a head?
Yeah,
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Go on. It's a podcast. Fuck it.
You know this is your house.
I know. Yeah, that's the problem.
Light up, brother.
I feel bad. I've never been a smoke indoors person.
Oh, okay, so you don't want to smoke inside?
I just don't want to smoke.
No, so open the window and then kind of like breathe out. Yeah. Oh, well, let's just wrap up.
Okay, let's
yeah.
wrap it up. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't
know exactly what
I don't
you
want to
mean.
end because I've got some things to go into. But
What things?
I've been taking notes.
Okay, while you have a cigarette,
okay.
while you have a cigarette, I'll talk about what I think
Yes,
a
please.
possible
Yes,
future
please.
for democracy could be. Okay?
That's good.
Because it's pretty
I don't
boring.
want to hear this because I don't believe in democracy anymore. So
Well, look, fair enough.
No, I just want to say before we change subject that I have found. Look, I spent most of my 20s, probably like you, quite similar to you. I had this very rigid, narrow vision of what I thought success would be, and it was so infantile that I held on to it so tightly that as the reality and the shroud dissipated and it became very apparent what the work required would take out of me.
And I don't want it that bad to
And,
sweat that much.
Exactly. And the reality sank in that, look, this is, in terms of music as well, like you're going to be like a fraction of the 1% if you ever make
Exactly.
it.
That's exactly
And
right.
It's almost like I ran into this quote that sums it up perfectly, that the juice was not worth the squeeze. And I was like,
That is
more
wicked.
and more, I'm like the law of diminishing returns. Like I feel like,
A lot of things you could apply that to, eh?
yes,
That's
it's,
wicked.
it's taking more from me emotionally, health-wise. You know, I can't just wake up and smoke cigarettes and drink booze.
No.
And I was doing that, fulfilling this thing in my head that, well, this goes along with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I guess this is it.
I used to love it, man. And now I'm slowly just becoming obsessed with like, how can I change my diet or something so that I don't wake up in pain or depressed, you know?
But I think the main point I was trying to make was that, like, I have to be honest with myself that I might not want that. I might not want that. But I say that in a really grateful, almost like I've been saved way, because the Daryl going for that dream is a horrible person to be around.
Yeah, that was Daryl Sunday and you want to be Daryl Monday.
But you know what I mean, right?
But yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And I've seen people that pass me in terms of like...
Oh, that's happened to me
success or
heaps of
whatever.
time. People that I thought were dog shit, to be honest.
Yes,
I
but-
thought I was way better than. And
But
like,
not only that, but
they're
I've
better.
I've seen it change people, like, in a way that I don't... I see what it's required to do it, and I kind of don't
I've
want to
seen
do it.
people that I thought
You
were
know?
like just nice people, like, and this is like my arrogance or whatever that I developed over time. But it wasn't really arrogance. It's just like, I knew the amount of time that I put into shit, you know, and I knew how much I obsessed and like my benchmark for certain things. So I'd see certain people and like they're giving it a go or whatever. And then I've noticed people that like got fame and stuff, and how like that changed them, eh? And I thought they were pretty crap before, not hell crap, but like they needed some work. But like I've since learned, like through my 20s, that people can really sink their teeth into something and try. They will outdo someone that can sit around being a fucking wanker for ages, like myself, you know. But can I ask you, why do you find it hard to let go?
Why do I find it hard to let go of
the dream and being able to admit or maybe even discover that you don't want it after all? I think I have the answer to that because I might feel the same way. You've accumulated a very fucking valuable skill that you now feel that like you could have gone doctor, lawyer, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing if you studied law for 10 years or the last 15 years and then you go, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. It's the same feeling.
Yeah. Also, I think
You're throwing away a skill. Identity
issues because you've associated that whole thing with your identity. And now that the reality is becoming apparent that maybe that is not your destiny, but still a part of you. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, you built up this foundation. It's like playing a video game and you've got a saved character that's in 98% of the story, but you know you're not going to finish the game.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to come to terms with you have to start a new game. Maybe. But yeah, there's a part of you that, like part of me anyway, that
I'm not old enough to have these answers yet.
Yeah, same here. I mean, who knows? I might go back into it twice as hard, and something might happen.
You know what? I don't know. I feel something similar like that.
I don't know.
I would love to look, man. I've got 2 dying wishes. Number 1, I hope that you know, whether I have something to do with it or not, I would love to see everybody being able to make up their own mind based on their perception of the world that they're given. Only you are getting the data point that you get, okay? No one else, okay? You can be fed other shit and you can turn off streams of information or whatever, but you make up your own fucking mind. That like it's disgusting and sad what you were saying when people go, oh, you think this is like... It's pretty obvious, isn't it, though, that it might be a bit sus. The corona thing is sus, okay? It's not as like clear cut as it is, okay? It's not just this bad virus. It's fucked up that people literally cannot. You don't have to be a fucking conspiracy theorist, but really start putting 2 and 2 together from the data point that you have, okay? Your context. That's one thing. And the second one is I'd like to create one bit of art that fucks everyone up as big as the Mona Lisa did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just one bit. That people are just like.
Just part
this
of
cunt's the best.
The public psyche.
Yeah, I'd like to
history.
have a really largely critically acclaimed bit of art, whatever it is, that everyone knows about, can't study or something. That's all I want, just one bit.
So there's not necessarily a painting, but
it
any
could
form
be.
of art?
It could be. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it needs to. I would like it to be as it would be. It's a nice goal.
Only you can say the word cunt so casually and have it flow.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
It's so good. It's a skill. I can't do that. I sound so crude when I do.
The thing is, that,
sorry.
that word has always been really like a sharp cutting word to me.
Really?
Yeah.
But because I'm around it so often, like my bosses.
No, for me, it just means person to me, just NPC.
Yeah.
It does. It's not actually bad to me. Like I think.
Yeah.
I think
well, it's like something
the
like
worst word that there is. I think the harshest one is slut.
Okay.
That one to me is like crazy, and faggot is obviously these are 2 words that I think like they hurt a little bit, but like cunt's just like, hey cunt, what's up?
Yeah, well,
it's pretty chill for me.
You know, there can be there's a good cunt, there's a shit cunt, there's a cunt.
Yeah.
There's all kind of cunts,
and
that's the Australian, like
pretty worldwide thing as well. If Australian says cunt, they don't care.
Yeah.
They just go, oh, you Aussie cunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
it has more implications elsewhere though. Like it's actual. Like,
that's what I mean. There's certain places where it is such a sharp word.
There's only one other person that I know that says cunt the same way as me. We do have a very similar like Aussie larrikin mixed with like tortured artist vibe that we have, and that's Tim Eyre. Like Tim Eyre. Like he also speaks very similar to the way I do.
Oh, dude, he's another like fucking wizard.
He's a wicked cunt.
Yeah.
You're listening to Mission Control.
If I would ask you, like gun to head, right? Why would you say, like, if we have had contact or knowledge of aliens? Or some humans have, let's say just for the last 50 years. Why do you think like the most important reason they don't tell us about it? Or why would they keep it hidden?
Ultimate chaos. because it would destroy any religion. It would destroy any kind of sort of order that we have. I think it would just go into this. It's the same. So I bring up the idea of, what was that space shuttle that broke up on entry years back?
Shuttle breakup
Columbia?
years ago. Yeah, that one.
Columbia, I think it was. So it was on re-entry, and it broke up on a re-entry. But NASA made the decision not to tell the crew that they were going to die. Like, they knew straight out that shuttle was going to die. They were all going to die. And
It's probably a better thing.
But they didn't tell them because they didn't want that panic. Now, so you put that on a global fucking scale. You don't want to create this panic. You don't want to create this chaos.
But I think people are primed. I think people are primed for that. I think if people were to find out that they were aliens, they wouldn't just grab a gun and shoot someone.
I have another question.
Come on,
though.
we went through a fucking medical pandemic around the world, and everyone bought.
And that was really
paper.
cool.
And we
It was
bought
a real
toilet
cool
paper.
pandemic.
We cleared out the stores of toilet paper.
Well, so that just goes to
And
show
it's
just how lame we still are and like underdeveloped.
I think what are we going to buy when aliens come?
I have a question for you though.
That was perpetrated by the news, though. We know that the news created that fear.
People
that then led to people buying stuff unnecessarily.
Yeah, but the idea that fear existed, and that's the way the human race reacted to this a medical pandemic. We bought toilet. What would happen if it was actually undisputedly proven an existence of an extraterrestrial race that was more intelligent than the human race from another fucking planet or dimension or whatever? We would. I can't even imagine what would happen.
So right, I have a question on that. Okay, what would be, I guess, I'm trying to put this in the right words. Why or what kind of alien would we find out about that would make us panic?
Ooh, well, that becomes
because if they could fix everything, we would be rejoicing, wouldn't we?
I don't think we could even. I don't think
so. They're probably not good enough. They're only just a little bit better than us.
Well, it depends on what alien. Like, I honestly don't believe it would be some humanoid. Those little greys we talk about that have a human thing. I think we create this sort of human idea of aliens. Just because that's all we can conceive. They're probably like little ball, like an orb of light.
Well, so they say they're different, like categories.
Orb of light type.
Different categories,
Could
right?
be AI.
No.
Well, AI running its own shit.
It could be some of those fucking jellyfish underneath the water. Have you seen some of that stuff?
Oh man,
some of those creatures that live.
Fucking.
Oh.
Well, the siphonophore, that like 30-meter. Like I love how the deeper
the what
siphonophore.
Okay,
it's like the world's longest animal. I don't know if I can spell it, but CIPHO.
Got it.
PHORE.
Yeah.
I think.
It starts with S, yeah.
S.
Yeah, it's like a little wormy thing, no?
Yeah, no, it's like 50 meters long.
Really? How thick is it?
As thick as this dick. No. So really, really thin.
Really thin.
No.
It's like one of those.
It's the longest animal.
Those stomach worms that can be like 50 meters long.
Yeah,
tapeworm. Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the fact that like the lower they get, the more transparent they get because they need less and less pigment, so they can get any light or something any vitamin D, or maybe they don't even need it. But
there is crazy shit in the water.
Bioluminescence is sick. We get that in WA, which is a cool thing every now and then. Like the algae that lights up when you touch it.
Light up. Yeah.
I've never seen it though, but it is in WA. But like. I don't know. If they're gonna get here, to like speak to us and shit like that. If they're up, I think the common thing like thought is, why don't we talk to ants or blah blah blah? Why don't we tell like dogs or whatever? Like because they're like at a lower thing. And if they're an orb or whatever, they're not hanging around talking to our political leaders or anything like that. And they're not like fucking around with us. If they're just slightly a little bit more advanced than us, but maybe even 100 years roughly, because we're developing pretty quick. Then they might be a little bit disappointing, I think. And like if they're slightly disappointing and they have more of a goal than they're willing to give, you know what I mean? Like they still have a higher priority than helping us out, then that will cause panic for sure. But I think the closest the most probable civilization, I personally think, are the Greys. Like, look at us now. If we could all, like, you go into a character creator, like, this is why, like, man, the concept of the character creator is like a huge thing at the moment, and I think they can go into like transgender, fucking hairstyles, fucking augmenting everything about ourselves, and blah blah blah. It's basically character creation, and it plays a fuck all, like, in terms of how your game turns out. You know, it's just cosmetic. Doesn't matter.
Except if you're cyberpunk and you choose a small penis, then you don't get the side story. But I think that's
but I think
that's a conspiracy as well.
I chose a small, slightly chewed off penis to reflect how I look. I like my characters to be true to life. Yeah. I don't even know what I was fucking talking about there. No, that's right. The Greys.
Creator,
okay, so the Greys. Okay, I think like we're basically look at the chicks with the Kylie Jenner or like the Jenner Kardashian effect. Okay, all these chicks they're blurring into the same kind of person. I don't even know how many times. Like the latest trick right now is the chicks just getting like just this front part dyed blonde, and the amount of people I'm seeing it. So like you see, it's like monkey see, monkey do. People are slowly becoming like okay, you think of an oscillation, you know, positive, negative, blah blah blah. That's chaos, okay, especially when you're getting a lot of that. But then over time, I think the universe wants this, like the absolute grey, and that's why I think the grey aliens are essentially a hive mind clone. Completely like no hair, no nothing. They're the same person, so there's no conflict or separation between each person, and they all have the one singular goal. They all speak, and they're half AI and half human.
Half hive mind, yeah. And there's also the other theory that the grey itself is a surrogate for either an AI that's using the body of a grey to run the tasks.
Yeah, literally.
Or,
I think it's
or
the same
being.
brain, like working under one singular rule.
Yeah.
Which says that if that's the case, then that's where we're heading anyway.
The actual grey is the shell, or the avatar that they use to carry out.
That's actually interesting. Yeah. I didn't think of that. I was thinking like more of just a clone of the same person.
Like, let's say you had a million.
So if one dies, it's not a loss. It's just another.
Yeah. And then you can have 50 greys run out and do a project that you're controlling. You just control them with the AI or whatever. Like, so they're just the worker bees, the foot soldiers.
Isn't that really interesting?
And you send them out. Some of them crash here. Some of them are from the future or whatever. But I don't know. There's also the other theory that aliens are interdimensional, that they're not, they come through portal. Like they're not.
I saw a 3D animation of what based on 4D physics.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. On how something can change its form and leak into the next dimension. And like when it's halfway between each one, it literally just its form, like it's kind of like odd to look at, and I didn't fully understand it, but like having that kind of visualization was sick. And then it makes you think, fuck, man, have you ever had things in your life? You may not have this same experience, but like this could possibly explain like these larger than life ghosts or like things. But like on a real world thing, have you ever had something that just goes missing?
Yeah.
Speak to this gentleman.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like, and
you
has
know
no reason to be
this
gone.
apartment is haunted.
Well, it's not haunted, but it might be like literally. Yeah,
it is haunted. But I completely know what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's like, I mean, I'm not going to try and sound like, hey, is it all good? Okay. Yes, I definitely feel like there is not something following me around personally, but I think.
Oh, hey, dude. No,
don't do it. You scared the fuck out of me.
I'm just joking.
No.
I'm sorry.
But like, I feel like the high possibility that these strange occurrences that happen, whether they are played out as a paranormal or just something unexplainable, has that potential to be, like you're saying, something from another dimension.
It's like some form of like
or getting lost between
some kind of collision, like overlapping. You know, it's like when you like think of like two, I don't know, little glass pyramids or whatever, and it's like, you know, when you can like clip through shit in a video game, like certain vertices have the rule do like collide and stop. Other ones, like your character, like to preserve mobility or whatever, they can go through. And sometimes I think like if you think of these like two little pyramids or whatever, glass pyramids, and sometimes like if they're moving around in whatever space they're in or vibrating like fucking particles do, at some point they can overlap and go through each other, and like it like moves in this kind of like it's a hard way to like demonstrate it, but it creates these weird like cyclical looking things. But maybe sometimes it does slightly cross over and it just takes your item away. And there are some times like, man, it just makes there is no logical outcome for why a very specific tiny little remote or something that no one would ever use in my own house. I go to work in the morning, I come back and I've never seen it again. That doesn't make any sense.
It happens to me all the
But
time.
it's usually quite like small items that wouldn't be of value to anyone else, and no one would have access in that period of time. And this started when I was quite young, with a PlayStation controller, when I had no friends and no one else played it, and it was like this little cheap piece of shit that I got. It was a blue one. That disappeared when I was 12. Never to be seen again.
So maybe certain areas are higher frequency. Like it has a certain.
I have a sick one.
It happens. More
I have an
often.
example of an item coming back, and I'm talking after 5 years in a place that it wouldn't ever reveal itself. So I have a cool shaver that I got when I was like maybe 24. Oh no, I was at the Apple store, so it was like maybe I was 22. 21, 22. I got this sick shaver. It's wicked. It was like nearly $300 or whatever. And it has like an adjustment so you can like do like different things. And I lost it. And these things are really expensive to me. It was like the most expensive thing I've ever had. And the adjustment is like, it's proprietary. You can't really like swap it around. And I was living in William Street or whatever in Mount Lawley, and the cunt disappeared. I never saw that adjustment ever again. And I was just like, man, where the hell could it have gone? I had this second one that was crap, but it's not the main one. I was like, did I imagine the other one or whatever? Man, like 2 years ago at my nan's place in Wattle Grove, I opened this drawer that I always open, okay? And in this drawer, we have all like hair shavers and stuff and like my brother's razors and things like that. For some reason, just sitting there was my adapter for my very specific shaver. It's a Philips fucking whatever it's called, and no one else had one in their family, and that was my one. And it was just sitting there as if it was just placed back at a place that was not like in any way related to the other place of where it went missing.
That's fucking weird.
Isn't that weird? Like 5 years later, just this one little bit of plastic.
Yeah.
Specifically for my thing, and I'm like, that makes no sense to me.
Well, it could even go into simulation theory and how objects in this simulation have a data point. Sometimes there's an anomaly where it goes missing and then pops up.
Yeah,
because the code is able to
it could very well be
render that item. I don't know.
Yeah, isn't that whack? Hey,
that's fucking weird,
that for me. I'd be like, okay, well, there's an explanation there, but it's like, no, well, I've moved house many times, so I would have come into contact with that item. I've moved house twice before going back to the place where I found it. It's weird.
No. We need to dismiss all those crazy paranormal stuff because we have to worry about COVID still, new normal. Are we...
Yeah, I guess we'll wrap up.
Okay, last things. Okay, right now, planets are aligning.
Okay.
The Moon, Saturn, and Jupiter all lining up right now tonight as well.
Oh.
And throughout this year, there's been a lot of planetary alignments. A lot of astronomical stuff has been going on, which no one cares about. Starship launched and exploded miraculously in a wicked ball of flame.
Starship,
SpaceX's
blew
vehicle
up?
to take people to Mars. They launched it, went 12.5 Ks up, hovered for a bit, came back down, and boom, exploded.
But it wasn't manned, right?
No, there's no one.
Okay,
It's just a test.
But that's how his first shit started anyway. Now it's dope.
Yeah.
So.
And now NASA's getting really pissy about SpaceX going to Mars, so they're now bringing up Titan again and all the water they found on Titan.
Okay. And Titan's a moon of...
Saturn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bunch of space stuff which is happening, which is really cool. And apparently Joe Biden has actually been certified as the president.
I lost $50.
No, we also get to watch Mike Pence and his wife take a COVID vaccine live on TV.
Live
Is
stream
Mike Pence?
of the vaccine, the vice president.
He's a VP.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are living in a fucking movie. Like, let's all sit down, gather around the TV
live vaccine.
and watch the live stream of a vaccination.
A live stream vaccine of the vice president and his wife. Very weird. Very weird.
And why are they doing that? To make it look safe? But then, like, how can you fully verify there's the same liquid going into it? Like,
Exactly,
if you were that, like, way inclined. Anyway, it's stupid. I'm just so sick of no truth.
Enjoy the show, I think.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show. Just be happy, I think.
Yeah.
And
I just want to say that I feel glad that I can look at stuff, I want to say objectively, and not just blindly accept, okay, that must be the truth.
Although some would say we aren't objective at all.
Well,
You
yeah.
know,
But
you know.
I feel like I can question stuff as much as it alienates myself and as much as I probably
Balance,
look really
man.
fucking dumb.
And
I
we're
don't
willing to
care.
be wrong.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to be wrong.
We're willing to be wrong.
But prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
And not just
don't just
fucking,
call us fucking whatever.
And don't beat yourself up about something that you're actually excited or passionate about if you're interested in it.
Yeah.
But your balance is really important. I think it's the universe's goal is to reach nothingness.
Yeah.
Equilibrium. Yeah, totally.
But so, like, you need a bit of everything. You know?
So that's been 2020.
Oh my god, 2020.
And has a year gone quick for you? Has it been a quick year?
Every year has gone quick for me, man. I honestly...
I just feel like it's been really fast. Like it's already over. It's already over.
Yeah, I think time is dilating or contracting. I think it's ebbs
Speeding
and
up
flows.
exponential time. That graph of, like I say, time technology is just getting faster and faster to the point where it's just going to stop,
Singularity, man.
and we're just going to like be frozen in time.
And
because
time
everything
is
just
just going to
moves
go.
so fast.
Would
so
we even
fast.
know that we were frozen at any point? We
That's
could have been
the
we
thing.
could have been frozen a billion times in this conversation. We don't know.
Yeah,
And reset.
this could be
Hey,
an entire
touch my penis.
machine. This could be
Someone's been freezing it.
an entire machine running something to figure itself out, and we're just replaying this moment over and over. I mean, who knows? But fucking enjoy it.
Yeah,
That's for another one.
Ben, thank you very much for joining us on
No
this
worries.
final 2020 podcast.
Thank you
No worries.
so much, Ben. We can always rely on you to show up. It's fucking awesome.
I just love this up, dude.
Please learn to take my compliments in the future.
I will when I do something good.
Yeah.
When
No, 'cause
it's something I'm proud of, I'll be like, yeah, I know.
You are more than capable of doing anything that you want.
Ooh,
Ben. You
okay.
are
Mission Control Podcast, Spotify for everything, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
Fuck, that's good.
all the podcast places, YouTube for the videos until we get banned. We didn't bring up Hunter Biden and his laptop.
No, we didn't. We better not.
You better not.
Also,
But everyone knows what I'm saying.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Ring in the new year. Positive. We'll wipe the slate clean and try again. 2021.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.